Hello, I'm Keyoka, the Awkward Black Nomad. I'm a writer, I'm a dog mom, and I travel solo. On my channel, I talk about my experiences traveling abroad, and I also bring other Black travelers on my channel to talk about their experiences bopping around, living abroad. So if this sounds like content that you are interested in, like the video, share it with somebody who you think this would be useful for, and click the notification button so you know when I go live, because I have no rhyme or reason to when I post or when I go live. I also have no content calendar, so you never know who'll be on my channel. And also, as you come into the room, Black folk, we speak when we come into the room, okay? So please drop down in the comment section. Tell us hi. When I bring my lovely guest up on the screen, if you have any questions for her, please put a Q in front of your question, okay? And I'm gonna bring her up. Hello. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, morning. Good morning. Um, I'm here in Vietnam.
Yes,
So it's
Vietnam.
yeah, Vietnam is great. I've been here for a little over a week, and I just got off of a 12-hour sleeper bus ride. So excuse me, everyone, if I'm a little like incoherent or whatever the case. I'm doing my best. But so my name's Brittany. My channel and Instagram handle are Whimsically Britt, and my motto is "Come with me if you want to live." I'm from New York City, and I have been traveling abroad since October of 2024. So it's been just about a little over 3 months, and just a dream come true. Been loving it. But it's not without its challenges. So I'm very excited to share the ups and downs of this travel experience. And please feel free to ask me anything that you might be curious about.
Yes, and Brittany, I'm so happy you agreed to come on the channel. I know you're tired. I appreciate your labor, okay? You sisters, okay? You and me, that's never okay. Thank you so much. Hi everybody. Hi Nomadic Islanders. Zanya. Hey girl. Marsha. Marcia? A Ford. Hi. Okay, Stefan.
Ah, Steph, cousin. I can't believe he made it.
Hey,
I think he's on a
cousin.
flight to Puerto Rico.
Oh, so we have travelers in the family. I love to see it. I love to
For
see
sure.
it. Hi, Angela. My sports game. Okay, me or sports,
Oh,
Angela? Me or sports? Pick one. It's me.
Miss
I know she's.
Michelle. Hello.
Hi,
That's my best
everybody.
friend's mom.
Oh, hey, TD. I'm from New Orleans, so we call our eldest TD. Hey, TD.
Oh, TD. Yeah,
Like, um. So, Brittany, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from?
yeah. Yeah, so I guess originally I sort of grew up on Long Island and I moved down to Louisiana actually when I was in sixth grade. So you said New Orleans. One of my best friends, another best friend of mine lives in New Orleans actually. So I lived down there for like 7, 8 years, did my junior high, high school there. And then I moved back to New York City for college and I've had been there ever since. So since 2010. Um, and yeah, I my background is in mechanical engineering, um, as far as like education, and then I went into financial services for work. So I was working for two big banks in New York City, and I finally left that job in October of this year to pursue this full-time travel dream of mine that's been turning since 2020. Actually since 2019, I had started preparing to leave in 2020, but we all know what happened. So yeah.
Okay, we are a big proponent of quitting your job on this side of the internet, so I support you. Go ahead. Good job quitting that job. Um, so you said that you started kind of planning or you had this idea to travel the world in 2019. What brought that on? What
um,
inspired you?
Actually, it was coworkers at my job. So I had quite a few. Well, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. who had just come back from a career break and he had been traveling around. Um, and he just loved, like, every time he talked about his travels, he was just so happy and excited. And he seemed a little depressed to be back in the office again. Um, on top of that, I mean, I had been traveling for a little while before that. My first big uh, international trip that really kind of sparked my love for travel was in 2017 to Japan. Anybody who's been to Japan, I've only ever heard that they absolutely love it, and I am, you know, no exception to that. So I went to Japan with one of my cousins and her friends, and from then on, I decided I need to travel more. So I would plan maybe like 3, 4 trips a year on my full time job, um, and maybe some mini trips in there, like weekend trips. So probably more than 3 to 4 a year. Um, and yeah, so the idea of actually putting my job to full time travel came from like my coworker and other women that I met specifically who had done the same. Because it's really important to see like other women represented in that field, right? Because of all the some of this discouragement we might get from traveling alone, or for safety reasons and such. So yeah, it's quite a few people that I just heard their stories, and it for me it became possible, right? It's not something I thought about before. Growing up, it was just like, go to school, go to college, get good grades, get a good job, buy a house, start a family,
Yeah.
and
That's
buy
the
expensive cars.
right.
you know,
That's like the
so
trajectory. This is like the life that you're supposed to have looks like this.
yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that you had the exposure of people going on career breaks and even like solo traveling back in 2019. So for me, this is kind of like a new concept. I think I first got introduced into the idea of taking a career break in 2022, like the summer of
Mm,
2022. So it's like still fairly relatively new, but I agree with you said about like it's so important to see representation, to see other black women doing the thing that you want to do,
hmm.
and that they're, I don't know, people always say that there's like horror stories of like solo women traveling, but you're like, well, I have the social proof. I have a bunch of people who are fine and they solo travel.
Exactly.
Where was
Exactly.
your
It's only
first?
the.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, no, it's okay. No, I was saying it's only the horror stories that you're gonna hear about, right? Like that's what goes on in the news. That's what grabs
Yeah.
people's attention. But there's far more positive stories than there are negative stories. So,
Yeah. Where was your first solo trip?
my first solo trip ever was to Portland, Oregon. Actually, yeah,
Love to see it. Okay.
uh, yeah, yeah. So started in the States. Started small. It's not like So I'm a big fan of like just dipping your toes, right? Start small. Maybe if you're not comfortable being alone, maybe start by going out to eat by yourself or go to the movies, that kind of thing. There was a time when actually I was a teenager and one of my brother's friends had gone to the movies by himself, and I was like, "You're such a weirdo. Why would you do that?" um, and so now, obviously, I can do the same, and so I recommend stuff like that if for anyone who's uncomfortable just being solo, and then start somewhere maybe in the States. I went all the way to Portland, but I also took my second solo trip was just a couple hours away in New Jersey to a beach town, like a weekend getaway for myself um, during the pandemic. I believe during the pandemic or like right before it. Um, so yeah, Portland, Oregon. I chose that place just because there were a couple. I hadn't been to the West Coast previously, like further than Las Vegas, so I just wanted to explore that side. And um, when I pick a location, I tend to just like put what are the top things to do, and then just see what the top things that pop up, and if enough of them are interesting to me, I'll pick the place and then go from there.
Mhm. And that's like you gave a lot of great tips for people who are kind of new to solo traveling. Um, Chris says, yes, I agree. There are far more positives than negative. I mean,
Mm.
I think you really just have to go out there and see for yourself. Right? You know?
Exactly. Yes.
And also like just doing those little getaways, like if you can go to a different state by yourself, if you can like go to the movies by yourself, people might really think that you are a weirdo even as an adult. But as long as like you're doing it, you feel confident the more you do it. I think that's
Exactly.
beautiful. So, you mentioned that you've been traveling full time since October. Now, the idea began in 2019. Okay. So what was going on between 2024 and 2019?
Hmm. Well, pandemic for most, more, but okay. So 2019, I was single again. I um decided to just start saving my money towards towards my travel fund, right? So I, kind of cut expenses. I left my apartment in January of 2020 to move in with a, special family member of mine, and I saved like thousands of dollars in rent that way, right? All through 2020. My goal was to leave in August 2020, but things still were not open by then. Instead, in August of 2020, I ended up being recruited for another job, which paid almost double of what I was making then. So between that and staying at my friends, right, in the friend's basement, um, I was able to save substantially. Um, and then, so I ended up staying there for about 2 years before I decided, all right, I think during that time, those 2 years, I was a little um, kind of discouraged because of just the way that, the pandemic was going. I didn't really know when the world was going to open back up again, if I was ever really going to be able to do this full time. So I kind of settled on the idea, like, you know what, I have a good job. Um, world's slowly opening. Let me just do what I was doing before, which is just just take those trips here and there, and maybe I'll just focus on like trying to settle down. Maybe I'll buy a house. Maybe I'll do whatever. So I moved out the basement back into my own apartment, um, and at the same time, and I know it might sound silly, but at the same time, I had these two cats that I had had for like 8, 9 years, and they were like really old. So part of the struggle of me, or part of the reason I also wanted to stay, is because like they were on their like last leg of life. And yeah, and I got like, what am I gonna do? Who am I gonna give them to? Like, who's gonna care for them the way that I do? And I was spending a lot of money taking them to the vet, and
Yeah.
every 2, 3 months something else would happen, and they were just getting to that point where it was like, okay, clearly they're declining. So with all of that being said, moved back to my own apartment. I spent a lot of time with my two cats, and I focused on just like keeping my job and just traveling like a normal individual with the 9 to 5. And I think other life events. So I'd say maybe during that time also, I had friends that got married, friends that were moving away, a lot of life changes going on, and I kind of felt stuck in a way. Like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm just here with my job, and I'm just going with the motions. So I think the real push for me to like actually pick a date and like, you know what, I'm going to actually do this time. Is like when one of my friends moved back to India, and she was one that I spent like the most time with in New York. So between that and then all my friends, I have a best friend in New Orleans. I have one that travels a lot for work herself. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, right now is the time, right? Like, we're only getting older.
I'm
So
never getting older. If anything, I'm aging backwards. I don't know what the people are talking about.
right, technically, but we are all, especially us. We you know, it takes a while for us to.
Exactly. No, but I resent what I resonate with a lot of what you're saying because, when I don't know, it's like when you cross that threshold like after 28, it's like people are looking at you like, so what are you doing with your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like even
Yes,
more
that's exactly
so
it.
than because I feel like they did that when like the college age, like what are you gonna what career are you gonna go after? And now it's like, well, your ovaries about to fall out, so you need to go
Oh
ahead
my
and
God.
find a man, and like as if your goal in life is to, which is not, I'm not knocking it, right? But it's like that shouldn't be the only thing. And
Right.
I just see so much of what you're saying in my own life. Your
Oh,
cousins
I'm so
are
glad. Yeah,
turned out. Your cousins have turned out this
hey,
evening.
it's Chris.
Like
Oh, Naomi, hey. Yes, oh my cousins,
your
they're the
cousins
best.
are
They're very
here.
supportive.
Um, but so in this preparation, I imagine there was a lot of just fear and anxiety and like, what am I doing? What should I do this? Is this the right move? Shouldn't I buy a house and live the rest of my days with my cats? Like, shouldn't I do that? What can you talk about some of that and how did you get to a place where you overcame it?
Hmm. I think me overcoming it was mostly about thinking about what I'm going to gain from the experience, um, looking at that rather than what I might be losing. And one, time doesn't stand still, right? So, like I said, if it was not now, like I didn't get to do it in 2020, 4 years later, I'm still here twirling this idea in my head. This must mean something, right? Like I would rather do it and regret it than not do it and regret it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was working that job. I can't say that I enjoyed it fully. I don't want to badmouth the job or anything like that, but
They're not
you
here.
know
They don't
that,
know.
yeah, I hope not. They're not here. But I mean, it wasn't for me, and I knew that. And I did try exploring like different job opportunities. I interviewed like 3 or 4 times with one job, and everything was going great. And then it was during the time where everyone was cutting jobs. They're like, oh, we don't have the budget to hire anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, so all these signs. It's like, all right, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. The housing market's crazy. All right, my cats finally passed away. This friend moved away. This one was like everything kind of was just pushing me towards this moment. I
Mm.
feel everything was aligning in a way that allowed for this, so I just kind of listened to that. But yeah, overall, I would just say like it's more like I don't want to regret not having done it. I already know what life is like, you know, to have the full time job. Like I've done it already, so why not try something else? Why keep doing the same thing if you're not happy? Try something else.
Yeah.
You can always go back.
Literally. Look, you can always find a job. I always say this. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna go down to the McDonald's, see if they
Hmm.
hiring, you know,
For real,
see if they're
actually, for
just
real.
saying, you know. Um, so your cousins are here, and you mentioned one of them is on a flight to Puerto Rico. So my next question would be, how does your family and friends receive like you traveling full time? Are they supportive? Were they skeptical when you brought up this idea?
Most of them supportive. Of course, my parents were probably the most concerned. Um, you know, understandably, and I think it's just from lack of exposure. Like obviously, I'd seen it done. I've during the pandemic and all through the 2023 or so, I connected with so many other travel bloggers, solo travelers, that to me it was already a lifestyle in my head. Like, but if for my parents who aren't exposed to it, it sounds crazy. Um, and so I think over time, especially because I started trying to do it in 2020, and they're like, "Oh, all right." And then like, now I'm still talking about it, and I had been traveling. Every time my mom or dad will text me or that I go to their house or whatever. It's like, oh, where to next? Where are you going next? So I think them becoming more comfortable with the fact that I do travel often already and nothing bad has happened, I'm gonna be okay. And I reassure them like, hey, so many people are doing this. I promise. Look at this Instagram. Look at this person. Look at this black girl over here in
Yeah.
China or whatever. Like, it's okay. I've been these places. They're not, I won't say they're not racist, but like people worry so much about what's going to happen to you as a black person or a woman. And I'm like, this woman did it. This black person did it. It's okay. So I think I wore them down a bit over time. But in general, my parents have always been, they're like pretty understanding and anything that I've wanted to do, they've never, I can't recall any time they've been like, no, you can't do that. You're not doing that.
Mm,
They've always been supportive. Um,
yeah.
so,
That's good. That's good. And I think, they have to see the vision.
mm,
They have to see the vision and then they can support it.
agreed, agreed.
Hey Pavi says, my mom called me a gypsy when I told her about my road trip around the USA this past spring.
You know,
Tell her you're a nomad. Tell her you're
there
a
we go.
nomad.
That's, yeah, that's that
Yeah.
word. Nomad.
Hmm.
Nomadic Islander.
Yes. So you mentioned
Oh,
you were
hey, Jill.
able so you mentioned you were able
Oh, just saying hi.
um to stay with a family member during for a little bit, and you were for 2 years and you could save up a lot of money. Um
Mhm.
what financial things did you have to put into place to get yourself prepared for actually taking the leap in October and
Mm.
traveling full term?
Oh, great question. I feel like a lot of people don't talk enough about the financial aspect of it. Right? You just see people traveling, and you just wonder, no. So for me to feel comfortable, because I am, I've always been a pretty stable person, right? College, full time job, just 9 to 5. Um, for me, having my 401 in place, 401k in place, helps me feel comfortable looking at that number right now. It's like, okay, the worst possible case, there is money there. It's there. I don't want to touch it, obviously, but it's there. Um, and then as far as like savings, I think that just depending on what type of traveler you are, um, and where you're going, it just makes sense to like just do your research on that and then kind of budget towards that. So I know for Asia's notorious for being a lot more affordable for Western travelers. And for me, moving out of the apartment definitely helped. Setting aside a separate savings account for that to not touch. And I think uh, slowly building to, let's put it this way, how do I put it? So my budget for this journey was about 3,000, 2 to 3,000 a month. Let's say 2.5, 2.5 thousand per month. Um, so more or less, depending on the place I go, right? Like Thailand, Vietnam might be super cheap. Australia is gonna be a lot more expensive, but I'm not. I might stay only 2 weeks in Australia, and I might stay 4 weeks in Thailand. So you kind of have to balance that out. Also, managing your expectations, right? So if you plan on staying in, private hotel rooms, that's going to be a lot more expensive if you're spending like $20 a night, $30, $50 a night versus a hostel where you're sharing a dorm and it's only like $3 a night, $10 a night. I'm not. Yes, I will. I will find like a. I'll screenshot one of the hostels like $3 a night. Um, I mean, mind you, it might have a little less amenities. A good one, maybe like $10, $15. You'll have a locker. You'll have, it'll be clean, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it just really depends on the type of traveler you are. You just have to like manage expectations and like budget like that from there.
Okay.
Um,
That makes sense.
yeah.
So, how did you initially plan out your itinerary? Was it just, so you mentioned you have a friend in India. Was it just places where you kind of know? Were these places that you've always dreamed of going? What was that like planning out
Uh,
the itinerary?
well, I chose. Asia specifically, just because once my trip to Japan, I actually had been twice. So the first time was 2017. That's the one that ignited my, my love for travel. And then I went again in 2019 with my friend Marisa, who's here. Hey, Marisa. uh, and I just wanted to explore a lot more of Asia without having to cross over so many time zones and be exhausted and rushed.
Fair.
So that was the main, yeah, that was the main, the goal of coming here to Asia, and then of course just Instagram, seeing where everybody's been, Vietnam, Thailand, um, even places like Laos. I never would have thought to go to Laos, and I saw a couple people who had gone to Laos, and I'm like, oh, this looks cool too. Um, so that's kind of how I picked Asia, and then I have a rough itinerary in my head, but I don't have anything booked to get to the next city from here. I'm like here right now, but I do have a flight booked on Sunday, so I just know I have to get to that city by Sunday, so I can take that flight to the next place. And I do have a flight from there booked to the next place, only because it's usually expensive to get um, to Australia. I'm going to get to Australia by next month, and so when I saw the plane ticket, this is how I planned it. So I was still in the States, by the way, still in the States in October. And I'm like, I know I want to go to Australia in like January, February, because that's the peak season, like the best season for weather wise. And so I just from Australia did like the Google Flights map thing and tried to see like from which city is the cheapest to fly um, to Australia. So I found that city. I booked that flight for like I think it was about like $200 one way. And from there, I'm like, okay, I just know I need to get to this city by this date. And I have like 4 months to get there. So I'll figure it out.
Okay. So
Um,
really it's like a loose itinerary. Like, do you know how
yes,
long you'll be do you know how long you'll be in Vietnam?
yes, because I have a flight out of Vietnam on Sunday. So it's
Okay.
been about 2 weeks. But I did want to spend more time. So here's the thing, too. I spent like 6 weeks in Thailand, which is like way more than I was planning to. I met some cool people, some special people, and I ended up staying and spending more time with them. And then I also forgot that I needed a visa for Vietnam. So travel mistakes. Always check, right? Check ahead of time the visa requirements. Just because you're an American does not mean you can get in everywhere. It's not
I tell you that
the
that blue
case at all.
passport feels like VIP, okay? That
Right.
blue
Well,
passport feels
not
like a
everywhere.
handicap sticker. You just park in the front
And that's
and
what I
walk
think.
on
But
by.
no, you need that. And even to Australia, you need to do an ETA entry thing before you get there. So if you land in Australia and try to do it, apparently you won't get in. So in the ETA, it specifically says you must be outside of Australia to submit this document. So
Oh,
yeah, check
okay.
check anywhere you're gonna go. Always check, even if you think you know. Just before you book that flight, or before you get on that flight, just check. So
Okay. So, I mean, it's been 3 months. Thoughts? Any overarching thoughts? Because you're moving pretty
whew,
quickly through each country, and I'm shocked. Not shocked, but so like when I was traveling, I would spend between anywhere from like 2 to 3 months in a place, sometimes longer,
wow.
depending on the visa. So like when I hear people, they're like, "Oh, I've been here for 2 weeks. Oh, I'm going for 4 weeks." Listen, the way I need to go, I need naps. I need naps. Okay. So how do you
I need a nap
feel?
now.
Exactly. Because
That's how I
you
feel.
don't
I
want
need
to
a
get
nap.
travel fatigue.
Well, that's definitely happened a couple of times. Well, okay, because I have a budget limit. That's what I'm limited by, is my budget right now. Most people are limited by time. For me, it's budget. So as much, if I can stretch this out for long, right? If I could stay in Vietnam for 6 months, I mean, I gotta say this. If I use the budget I have only stayed in Vietnam, I could stay here for maybe a year or something like that.
Nice.
Um, but um, yeah, that's what's limiting me. So um, I know I want to see certain places, and that's why I have to limit myself to like the 2 weeks or whatever the case. I I did get some rest in like India because I did spend 3 weeks there first, which was actually like my first big stop in Asia, and stay with a friend. So very peaceful, relaxing. A lot of days I just like wouldn't get out the bed till like 10, 11 a.m. No rush to go anywhere, and
Yeah.
it was cool. And but once I started on my own, I went to Malaysia. I spent 8 days in Kuala Lumpur. When I say that, people are like, 8 days? That's way too long. For me, I wanted to slowly, yeah, I want to
I
take
don't
my
know what
time. I'm
people
not gonna.
listen. You said 8 days. Let me tell you, I don't know how I would do that. I would have to spend a month. Like I can't spend I can't spend 8 days anywhere because 3 of those days I'm going to be inside under a blanket. Like it's
Oh, I want to do that so badly. You don't even, you have no idea.
so
Actually, I'm seriously considering the next location where I'm going after Vietnam. I'm going to be there for like 8 days, and I'm like, you know what? I might just stay in one city, not try to explore the whole country. Just
yeah,
make that my
because
reset. Don't. Yeah.
what's the rush? Do you have an end date that you
Sort
decided
of.
on, or
So
is this kind of
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, one, my mom's always like, "When are you coming back home?" So
girl,
my
huh?
mom. No, but but like I said, it's the budget that's limiting me, and unless I can, until I find a remote job, that's I'm looking at staying until like summer ish. So but at the same time, I've been trying to enjoy myself fully, right? So I haven't been looking at jobs or anything yet. Like, so it's only been 3 months, and I really wanted to immerse myself. But in the next couple of months, I probably will start looking for jobs, or I will, um, hopefully, my more of my entrepreneurial. Oh my gosh, what's the word now I'm looking for?
Pizzazz. I'm just gonna start saying words.
Pizzazz, a pizzazz. More of the. I'm trying to dabble in, you know, uh, oh my gosh,
Everyone, Britt
Upwork,
has
Upwork,
a
that stuff.
blog
There we go.
where she documents her travel. She also has a YouTube channel. I'm going to put it in the chat and also the description of this video. Go support our girl. Um, she has amazing content. I was looking at her YouTube videos. Actually, that's not how I found you. I think I found you on Instagram. But I was looking at your YouTube videos and the quality is so, over here we a little ghetto. Okay, this is a janky setup. I'm not a techie person. I don't know what to do with a camera. But over on Brit's channel,
No, oh,
when I say cinematography, okay, angles, she's a
I appreciate
videographer,
that.
everyone.
I really appreciate that
Okay.
because that is something that I'm really trying to hone in on, and hopefully that will be one stream of income that will help me to continue doing what I'm doing now.
Yes.
So I invested a lot of money into, a vlogging camera, a drone, my iPhone, um, anything I need to kind of help push this forward. That's another goal of mine. So, I mean, I would say ideally, that is what I'm doing, and that's what makes me money, and I'm able to do this indefinitely. But as the funds start dwindling right now, I might, find some remote work. Besides, you want to have multiple streams if you can, right? So for me, if I can do a remote job where I'm working like 10, 20 hours a week or something, but it's allowing me to extend my travels, that would be great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Yes, I agree with all of what you're saying. We
yeah.
have flexible lives, and that's a gift, right? To be able to find the money that is going to sustain you. I think that's beautiful. Marisa has a question. How do you keep up with your hair in Asia? Because it's gorgeous. She didn't say that. Well, she said
Oh,
it looks great, but it does look great, girl.
thank you, thank you. Um, well, I had braids up until like mid-January, so yeah, it's only been 2 weeks, and I actually did bring some hair care products with me, like the little packets of like the leave-in conditioners and stuff that you can get at the hair stores in the States. I do have those with me, and gel, uh, Jamaican black castor oil, everything, like just the
So you
little
brought
travel
it
size
with
bottles.
you. You brought it with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I knew someone who had lived in Thailand for 9 months, and he was telling me like, oh, make sure you bring lotion. Like all the lotions there have like skin brighteners and stuff like that. Yeah, and sure enough, I saw it too. I'm like, oh my gosh, what you trying to whiten me up over here? So I even brought my own lotion. So,
Colorism, everything under the sun
yeah.
is affected by race. This is what I tell people. I am not gonna say on my channel that no country is racist. Every place has been affected by colonization, the patriarchy,
Oh
racism,
yeah,
whatever. That's
for sure. It's
interesting.
just more
Okay,
normalized here.
that's interesting. Um, hmm. So I'm trying to go through my questions. We covered a good bit already. What
Oh wow.
which country do you think has impacted you the most, either from this stint of traveling that you're doing now, or a country that you've been to in the past?
Mm. So there maybe ooh, well, aside from Japan, again, that sparked, ignited the fire for this. Um, Honestly, Thailand, and I hate to say it because everyone, it seems like the other generic answer when people are like, "What's your favorite country?" or whatever, I usually hear like Japan and Thailand, and there is a reason. I just um, in Thailand, very affordable, but and also the cities are very different. So I feel like the landscape and the amount of things that you can do vary greatly. I really love Bangkok because I'm just a city girl. I like accessibility. I like being able to walk outside and find a cafe. Um, it's the weather is cooler, not as humid and nice. And I'm from New York, so I just like that city energy. There's also a crazy mall there, Icon Siam, spectacular crazy mall. Anyone in Bangkok, definitely check it out. Um, and then you have places like Chiang Rai, which have these gorgeous temples. It's very serene, quiet. I spent So part of the reason this was impactful is because before I started this journey, I used to joke that I want to like run away to a monastery for like a week or a month, however long I could handle.
I
I
used to
said a
say that
month, but
all
then
the
I was
time.
thinking,
Oh my
yeah,
god,
you too.
I used to say that all the time.
Yes, but I'm like
Like,
realistically, I can't do it because I'm always worried. I'm like, oh, what if somebody calls me? What if something happens back at home? There's no way I could never really truly detach. But I was able to find a monastery in Chiang Rai that I went for the day. Went for the day, but there's literally like just monks walking around, just doing their thing, and they can meditate with you. So I like meditated with a monk, like just sitting right across at a table.
really?
Yeah, and he just like guided me through it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just getting the real deal. Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, calm down.
He's like, focus. Like,
Focus. Okay, wait, okay. But it's stuff like that. I feel like a lot of things in Thailand, things that happened to me in Thailand, were things that I had been that maybe I manifested in a
mm,
way. So yeah, that's why I think it's been really impactful for me. And then just I spent so much time there too. Right? I spent 6 weeks, and I met so many amazing people there as well. So I even ended up like staying with this girl in her house. Like I just for the last week when I was waiting for my Vietnam visa, I just stayed with her, and then she like was basically my tour guide because she is a tour guide actually, a Thai tour guide, and she would just take me places every day and just hang out with me, and then we're great friends now. So it's stuff like that. It's like I feel like the the most impactful part of the travel has been like just the people I've met, because I'm here solo traveling, but I've only been solo maybe for like 2 3 weeks of these 3 months, and I'm not exaggerating at all about that.
Wow.
So uh,
Wow.
yeah, everywhere
So
I go.
how are you meeting people? How do you build community?
It's really just out and about. You would think it's in the hostels, which is why like I would choose to stay in hostels from like because I the first time I ever stayed in a hostel was in Lisbon, and there I made very good friends that I still talk to this day. I made this in my room. I connected really well with this Brazilian girl, and then like 2 years later, I stayed at her house in South in Brazil in Salvador, and from then on, I'm like, wow, hostels are amazing. This is where it's at. Like it's so easy to meet people. Everybody's so nice. Um, and I've been chasing that ever since. Um, but I'm not meeting people in hostels. I'm just meeting them out and about. Um, I so when I was in Malaysia, I was at a temple, and there were these two girls making a TikTok video, or no, I think they were taking pictures or something. And I think I was like, oh, I'll take pictures for you, you take for me, whatever. We just start chit chatting, and they're like, oh, we're gonna make a TikTok. Do you want to be in it? I'm like, sure. And then they're like, hey, do you want to grab dinner with us? You want to get in our car? I'm like, okay. Stranger danger is no longer here. And, I'm glad I did. And then I spent like the whole next day with them as well. Um, then when I went over to Thailand, I met another Malaysian girl, actually at my hotel. So it's like a hostel slash resort. But I just met her out during one of our activities, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to get lunch?" And then we ended up spending so much time together. Um, then let's see, from there I went to Kopangan for New Year's. That's like the full moon party island. It's like famous for full moon parties. And there was a big beach party for New Year's. And there I met some folks. And I ended up traveling around, actually ended up traveling around with them for like 2 weeks. And we went to Laos, and
Nice.
we came back to Bangkok. And then that's also how I met that Thai girl who I ended up staying with in Bangkok. So it's just been kind of crazy, like just back to back. I'm just meeting people, and most of the time it's because they talk to me first because I'm very introverted. I don't think I've ever said hello to a person first in my life.
Same.
I'm just like
Same.
very
We
shy.
see each other. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good. It's been great.
I love that. Like the fact that you are an introvert, but you're kind of getting adopted by people. Like they just take you in. They're like, "Hey, it's nice. We're nice. Come with us."
Yeah, yeah. And then as soon as I can see that they're nice, then I start just getting and people mistake me, or like they'll say, "Oh, I thought you were an extra. I thought you were extroverted." Um, we're all there's a spectrum of it, right? Um, so yeah, once I feel comfortable, we can chit chat. Like talking to you one on one, this is easy. I know these people are here, but I can't see them, so it helps me a bit to be more open.
It's just me
Um,
and you. Don't worry about
yeah,
anybody
it's
else
just
watching
us.
this.
I'm just
No
looking
one
at you.
watches
So,
these.
and the crazy thing, a lot of I've seen on the internet some people say like, "Oh, I'm surprised that introverts like to travel solo," and I'm like, that sounds like the best,
Right,
like the
we're the
best
best
possibility for an
candidate.
introvert.
Right. It's like the best thing. What?
Yeah,
Walking
yeah. You don't
around by
have to talk to anybody.
myself?
You don't have to. Yeah, it's amazing. Um, but I'm also surprised, being introverted, that like I said, that I've made all these friends and that I've really enjoyed. Um, I think um, maybe it's helped me see people in a different way. Like especially like living in New York, yeah, it's a huge city, but no one really no one really socializes outside of their own friend groups and such. You don't go out to meet people in New York. um, which is like a weird paradox. But um, so from that, I think I've learned to kind of shelter myself. But through traveling and meeting all these people, I'm realizing like there are a lot of like open and friendly people, and they're willing to talk and even be your friends and adopt you, like you said. So yeah.
Well, because it's also like you guys are in the same position. You're like foreigners in a country, in a new country. So,
Hmm.
you're having the
Oh yeah,
same experience. So I think it's a bonding moment.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's hard to find like after school, right? Like
Hmm.
once you go into the workforce. I mean, yeah, you might make friends with some coworkers, but overall, I don't trust my coworkers. Like new coworkers, right? Like you can't. For some, you feel like you have to. You can't
Be
fully be
surface
yourself
level.
at
Yeah,
work, right? Right. Because you never know who's watching or what they're gonna. So I feel like it's been harder to make friends like once you leave school, and this is one great way to do so.
that's true. So Marissa asked, are you telling people you're traveling alone? Is that safe to do?
Uh, hmm. I well in the hostels and stuff when it's clear that they're also alone and such. I mean, it's clear what we're all doing, so you can't really hide it. I'm like, oh no, I'm not alone. But sometimes I might say like, oh no, yeah, I have a friend here in town, which is mostly true. Like I said, I really have not felt alone for most of this time. Maybe 3 weeks of the time I've actually been alone. But like when I was in Bangkok, I had my new Thai friend. I had a friend from Mexico who lives in Bangkok that I met up with a couple of times. So I never felt truly alone, or if like something happened to me, that there's no one that I can turn to. Um, but I would say in general, like where I am right now, the city I'm in right now, I don't know anybody. So if I'm like going out on a tour or something, then I would normally say like, oh yeah, my friend didn't want to come on the tour, or like that sort of thing. Um, but here in the hostel itself, I might meet other solo travelers, and it's clear that we're both solo, so we just kind of stick together. And it's safe. I don't say usually safe. It's always been safe for me, but I don't know. There's a movie called Hostel that my mom tried to get me to watch, and I'm not gonna watch it. It's supposed to be really scary, and we don't need that
Do
energy.
you have you been in a situation where you felt like you were not in a safe environment or even
Yeah.
uncomfortable? Like maybe I should leave.
Um, Not like a specific situation, but when I went to Bien Bien in Laos, mostly because of I don't know how familiar you are with the several backpackers who died from like methanol poisoning or um, so apparently there was one backpacker hostel that was instead of alcohol they were using I think methanol or ethanol or something to like dilute the alcohol, make it last longer. But it's extremely toxic. Like I think even like 10 ounces of it can kill you. And sure enough, I think like 6 or 9 backpackers had died there in the past couple of months, or like during that time frame. That hostel got shut down. But now when you go to Vientiane, they're warning you to not drink cocktails and just only drink from sealed bottles that you buy in stores and stuff. Don't take shots at the bar and stuff like that. But even though I was even afraid to like drink cocktails, I'm like, oh, what if they poison this in the store? Like, what are they trying to do here? Um, and then Bien Bien also just has a more gritty feel in general. Like it's very dust roads, and um, so we landed in Vientiane or something, the main airport, and from there you have to take a bus or whatever 2 hours to Vientiane. And the bus station where we picked up the van, it was very I don't know. I'll be sharing footage of it, but it was just very like sus, and the whole process was very sus. And I'm like, are they taking me where I need to go, or like what's going on? But it all worked out, and luckily I was with 2 other people too. So
Oh wow.
But if I
So,
was by myself, honestly, I would have felt a little scared.
Shabivia said this is happening in Bali too, sadly.
Oh
Y'all
no.
better watch yourselves. Y'all better watch yourselves out there
Mhm.
in the streets.
Yeah.
Um,
I just drink my shoju out the bottles. I don't do this cocktails or anything.
she's a classy girl. Um, so okay, I mean, so what safety are there any safety tips since you haven't been in any like unsafe situations? Do you have any safety tips?
um well, yeah, just use discernment when telling people whether you're alone. In general, it's always better to just say like, "Oh yeah, I have somebody here in town, visiting a friend in town, whatever." Um, uh, I do have this door lock thing that I used in the very beginning when I had my own hotel room, but now I've usually been in the hostel, so I can't really use it. But when I do have my own space, I tend to use the door stopper so that people can't easily come in while I'm asleep. I finally got my TSA luggage locks, so I try to keep those locks whenever I keep my stuff stored. The many times that I check in early and I can't put my luggage in the room, I keep it locked up. Always use the safes for your, passport and laptop, my drone, everything. Uh, what else? Safety, safety, safety. Yeah, I mean, if someone seems sus, I mean, you could feel. I feel like you could feel people out, but I know it's hard. It can be hard, right? Because a wolf is going to be in sheep's clothing. They're not going to approach you as a wolf. Um, but yeah, if something doesn't feel right, listen to your gut. Um, this is bringing me back. The most unsafe experience I had was that solo trip in New Jersey, and this is an example of a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I had gone parasailing, and there was a man and his two kids, middle-aged man and his two kids, and we took videos for each other while we were parasailing. And at the end, you wanted to exchange the photos through AirDrop. So we both go to my car, and he's standing outside the car, and we're trying to airdrop. It's not working. It may have been like 2 3 minutes, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if I sit in the car?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so he comes to in the passenger seat. We're still trying to do it. It's not working. I give him my phone, and he's like figuring it out. Um, and then he's like looking through my like scrolling. Now he's just scrolling through my photos, and he'll like go to photos where like I'm maybe a little less clothed. Nothing suggestive, but like I'm a little less clothed. Maybe I'm wearing like a tube top or something. You're like, oh, this is sexy. I'm like, okay, and I try, I try to grab the phone from him, and he's holding on to it, stern look on his face. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's enough. And he's just continuing, and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? He has my phone. Do I leave the car? What do I do? Eventually, he gives me back the phone, and yeah, and it goes about his way. And I was just like, that feels really
Creepy,
weird.
scary,
Why did you do that? Yeah,
unnecessary.
and very unnecessary. And we're in the States. I'm like, he could have had a gun. You know, like all kinds of stuff was running through my head. So I never feel that way here, right? Like people walk around with guns, and it's whew. And he was a dentist at that. So and that's the thing too. Like I learned so much about him, and I thought it was cool until it was not. So you really just never know. But just always keep your guard up. But
Yeah.
yeah, things like that still happen.
Please be careful when drinking abroad. But
Yeah, yeah.
well,
And I did get the parasailing photos.
did you get
Yes.
your parasailing photos? And
Where
where
were
were
his
his
kids?
kids?
Where were the kids? Were they in the car, in his car
It
somewhere?
was
Or
a
like,
traumatic experience. She didn't block the kids
yeah, I
out.
don't.
Okay.
Don't
We don't know.
remember. They weren't there. They were, yeah,
Men
crazy.
can be so strange. So speaking of men, um,
Oh, Lord.
have you been dating? How's dating?
No, I haven't. I have not been like seeking out dates or anything like that.
I didn't
I
ask
quit
that.
apps. I hate it.
Not seeking out. Have you been sought after?
Sure, I've been sought after. We're gonna. I want to. No, I want to. I want to. I only want to skip this because I don't want to jinx anything. And I'm being like
Oh,
100% like I
okay.
just.
Could we talk about a past situation? Could we talk about a past situation, not a present one?
Mm,
Okay, we'll speak generally. How would you say your dating experiences abroad have been?
I think I've been good. I feel like I've been more. I've been approached more while abroad than like in New York for sure. Um, Again, people are just. I don't know if people are friendlier or just depending on the culture. A lot of yes, the men are more traditional or in a sense, right? Like they will approach you, they'll try to court you. They aren't afraid to uh, approach women. And I know it's a touchy subject, like especially in the States because of, like Me Too and people, some women on the internet are like, oh my gosh, this guy came and said hi to me. He's such a creep. So I understand why some guys are afraid to approach women. Um, and I feel like over abroad, like Europe, Asia, and stuff is well. I'd say Europe more. They've approached more. I feel like in Asia, guys are a lot more timid in general. Um, they just have a more innocent aura about them, but they're almost like little boys. So it's kind of like not really,
Not
not
not little
not
boys.
like not like yeah, that's not similar for me. I'm like not really.
So have you been dating local people when you travel to a country, or are they like tourists? Are they American?
Oh, in the past, yeah, they've usually been other tourists. I don't think, yeah, I can't think of any local people. Anytime I've met somebody, it was usually like another tourist from another country and not American.
Okay,
Yeah, I can't think of any American. No. I've made friends with Americans.
okay. Now, I'm curious about this because I think there's some discourse in the US about going on walk and talk dates. But when I was dating abroad, I went on a lot of walk and talk dates and it was no big deal.
Mm,
So what's been your
yeah.
experience with that? Do you feel like are you a sit down and buy me dinner girl, or are you kind of like a let's grab a coffee and take a stroll? Like what's your vibe?
Mm. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like, yeah, not dinner. I think usually my go to would be like drinks and play pool type thing, just something like fun, a little competitive, not too serious. We can get to know each other, um, and that's just usually how I've dated in general. Like just even back in the States and stuff. It's just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy playing pool. I usually don't have people to play with, and that's something usually that men enjoy doing as well. So yeah, we'll play pool. Um, I haven't done any like coffee. It's been a while since I've done like an official date. If that makes sense.
Okay.
It's like
Yes.
yeah,
You might be telling more of your business than you realize.
I don't know.
Just kidding.
I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
Anyways, next subject. So, do you go out to clubs just
Not
in
really.
general?
I
Not
don't,
really. Because I was gonna ask you
not
like
really.
where's the best night scene? But if it's not your
Mm.
vibe, then I don't know.
Well, Bangkok had a great night scene for sure.
Okay.
Um, and then of course Koh Phangan, which is at the Full Moon Party Island. If you go during full moon parties, it's crazy packed, like a little too much. Like the streets are, I mean, not streets. The beach is trash, and it's really sad actually. Um, so it's that's a very big party spot, and Bangkok was also a great party spot. I hear Pattaya is a really it's like a Las Vegas or type vibe. A lot of like lady boys, they call them lady boys, and clubs with women that dance and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't been there because that's not really my vibe. And also when I'm alone, I don't really try to party, right? Because I have to be safe and be careful. I don't want to drink too much, and just being around a bunch of people, sweaty and loud. It's just not really my vibe anymore.
Close. Very close in the smells.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's hot, steamy
yeah,
hot.
and it's hot. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a club vibe either. But so where what is a place what place do you think, like, if somebody's watching this video, they have to do whatever this thing is, like a must see experience, must see, you know, place, a culture that they have to experience, like, what's your suggestion?
Hmm. Oh man, so many. I would say Malaysia is. I don't think Malaysia's talked about enough. I really enjoyed it. Like, and I didn't know much about it before I went, and I really like even seeing the Petronas Towers, like the Twin Towers. You'll see them online a lot. It just seeing them in person is just incredible. I don't care how many times you've seen it online, you have to see it in person. And then also just exploring other parts of Malaysia because I feel like that's not discussed enough. It's more than just Kuala Lumpur. There are islands, there are like small cities with like ruins and temples and things like that. That's very nice. So I would definitely say to check out Malaysia. Thailand is on everybody's list, and yeah, go to Thailand. But I would say um, Phuket underwhelmed me, and that there are other islands that I think could be even more enjoyable because there are less tourists and the beaches are even nicer. Like where did my friend take me? So the Thai girl, the one that lives in Bangkok, she took us to an island that I will find and I'll put it in the chat. Oh, I can't chat it.
You
Can I chat
can.
it? Can I write it?
You should
Ah.
be able
Oh,
to.
just chat with the host and other guests. Okay, there we go. So once I find it, I'll put the name of it here. But
Okay.
definitely explore Thailand, and I mean there are so many cities to explore there. That's another reason why Thailand is probably a big hotspot and one of my favorites is because it's more than just like there's not one main attraction. There's you gotta go to Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai. Um, there are a couple of other cities up in the north, and then many other islands in the south aside from Phuket. There's Krabi. So there's just so much to do in Thailand, and it's Pattaya if you want parties. There's just something for everybody. So you can quite literally spend, like I spent 6 weeks there. You can spend a lot of time there. And Vietnam, I love Vietnam. So in the beginning, I wasn't convinced when I first landed in Ho Chi Minh. Um, the airport situation was just a little. They're just like very strict and like they don't smile a lot or anything. So I was just like, oh boy, this is gonna be, it's gonna be a tough one. But once I got into Hanoi, everyone is just like so sweet, friendly, and like, um, I had a great time there. And then going down to Da Nang, Da Nang slash Hoi An. Um, it's less city and more of like a traditional um, vibe in Hoi An, where you have like the paper lanterns and you get on the boat, the nice boat, the lanterns, and do the coconut boats. It's a cute experience. Like, definitely think you should do it. And Da Nang is another city, but I liked it because it was much more spread out, spacious, less under. less overwhelming than like Hanoi, which is like crazy. If you've seen videos or like people talk about the motorbikes, they don't stop. You gotta like just slowly make your way across like Frogger, like you're playing Frogger. Seriously, and they're not gonna stop. They're just gonna keep trying to go around. They're gonna, and you might get hit. So, yeah, yeah. So they're not
Get
playing.
that travel
But
insurance.
yeah. So let me try it out. If you want some adventure, go to Hanoi, cross the street. Or go on the train street. Sit on the street where the train goes by, and it's like it's not that close to you. It's maybe like 2 feet away, but it's close. It's a narrow street where you can sit at the bar or the restaurant, and the train comes by, and it's a huge tourist attraction. There's also one like that in Thailand, which is another reason. Again, Thailand has everything. So Thailand also has a train street, but it is much more dangerous. Like the train is like 6 inches from you.
Wow. Oh
So
wait,
if
I
you
think
make
I
one
saw
wrong move,
that on
you're
your
gonna.
I think I saw that on your, I don't know if it was a video or if it was on Instagram, but like literally the train, you were sitting there and the train was just like going really fast that way.
Oh no, that one's in Hanoi. The one in Thailand actually goes slow because if it did go that fast, we would all die for
It's
sure. Because it
scary.
literally is like, it's like here, yeah. So you barely have your phone. You're like, oh shoot. And it goes very very slow because yeah, we would probably all get hit.
I
One
was
wrong
like, girl,
move.
why are you sitting so close? Girl, back up.
No,
Like,
I gotta get the perfect video.
you guys, if you have any questions for Brittany, please put a Q in front of your question. It looks like Khadijah is asking, since you travel the world often, do you have a routine that you do when you arrive to a new location? That's a good one.
Hmm. Well, I try to settle in as quickly as I can. So I do like to unpack my things and like set them up. Um, like my toiletries and stuff like that, just make it all neat and so I can know where things are. Put my stuff in the safe. Um, I mean, it's each arrival's been different. So, I mean, probably first thing I do is get food. I'm always hungry when I arrive somewhere. Um, I don't have much of a routine, which is something I miss. Like I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months, and but yeah, I'm doing a lot of walking, so maybe that's like my cardio. But I usually like to do strength training, and I haven't done that in a while. Um, but yeah, as far as like specific routines, I think it's besides unpacking everything, I maybe not because every place is so different, and I think most of the time I'm just ready to put my stuff down and go in my crib and go explore. Um, Unless I'm staying for a long period of time. If I'm staying for a couple of days, like maybe like 5+ days, then maybe I'll relax the first day and just go get something to eat, come back to the hotel, chill, and then start my day the next day with like a tour or something like that. Um, let's see. Yeah.
And Chris is asking, so you don't have to disclose the amount, but how far out have you saved before you feel you need to go back to work? A year, six
Mm,
months, 2 years?
yeah, yeah. So I so I'm budgeting about uh 2,500, 3,000 a month, hoping to go for about 8 months. But I also have some contingency in there, right? For I still have at home expenses, right? My storage units, my cell phone bill, if I haven't cut that off, because I still need that phone number for like my one time passwords and stuff like that, and communicating with my friends. And because I'm constantly moving, I don't want to get a new SIM card and reach out to people over and over again, all that. Um, so yeah, there's still at home expenses that I'm paying, so I had to factor that in as well. But overall, I feel comfortable that I can travel for about 8 months before I start looking for a job because I do have other savings too, but I don't consider them my travel savings. I would rather not dip into them if I don't have to. Um, So yeah, I'd say 8 months. How far out? Say about 8 months.
Good, solid. Gilberto says everyone should travel alone at some point in their lives. Doing so forces you to make new friends and meet amazing people, as well as humble you and heal your soul. That was beautiful. I
Yes.
agree.
Oh, yes, that's
I
Gil.
agree.
That's my buddy. That's my buddy from Mexico, who I met up in Bangkok a couple of times. That was my third time meeting him while traveling.
That's awesome. Not planned,
Yeah.
just out and about. You're like, hey.
Oh, well, sort of planned as like I didn't go there to meet him, but I knew I would be there, and he was there, and we're like, hey, we're here, let's meet up. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. What have you learned about yourself through this process?
Whew. That I'm still anxious, an anxious person. That is not just because I like lived. It's not because of the circumstance that I was in, like living in New York or the job. It's that um, I still have to learn how to relax a bit. Um, so I remember when I was traveling with my friends in Laos. So it's the Thai girl and these two Turkish guys, and um, me and one of the guys, we tended to kind of butt heads a lot on like what we're gonna do next because he was very go with the flow. Like I'm like, so what are we doing tomorrow? Like, where are we staying? Where are we staying today? Oh, we didn't book anything yet, and I'm like freaking out. Like, but and then there was one instance in Vietnam where you can take a train from Bien Bien to uh, the next city. I can't remember it right now. And oh, the Luang Prabang, and you can take a train, which is like 1 hour high speed train. But people were saying there's like very high security. They're gonna check your bags. They're gonna take away all your stuff. Blah blah blah. I had my drone. I don't know what the drone policy is in Laos. I'm like, what if they take my drone? So I was getting worried. Or you could take a bus that was like 6 or 8 hours or something like that. And I kept saying we should just take the bus. And he kept pushing for us to take the train. And I'm like, all right, well, if I lose out on anything, I mean, if they try to take my drone away, whatever, I'll figure it out and I'll go take a bus later. And we get to the bus station, and it was just the most like it was a breeze going through there. There was nothing. Oh, the train station, it was a breeze. I even got through with like a huge bottle of detergent. Like it wasn't that serious, but people online made it seem so serious. Like, oh, you can't have more than 2 ounces of liquid and this and that, and they're gonna take everything away from you. So from then, I kind of learned, okay, maybe I should just chill and relax, and maybe I should just let somebody else handle this for once, because I'm so used to planning everything myself and figuring things out myself. Like maybe it's good that somebody else is taking the wheels, and I can just relax. And you know what? If something goes wrong, I'll just go with it. Just go with it. But nothing went wrong, and that's the thing.
Nothing
So I
went
was
wrong.
worried all this time. I've been worried. Where are we gonna stay? What are we gonna eat? What are we gonna do? And everything always worked out. So I
Everything
learned
always
I'm
works
pretty
out.
anxious and I need to, chill. I also learned I have
That
too much stuff.
that's always. I feel like everybody has a little bit of the hoarder spirit in them,
Oh yeah,
like where they
yeah,
can't let things go or they overpack.
yeah. It's
I don't
it's
know.
bad, and I left some things behind with one friend. But I started with 2 bags, and now I'm constantly carrying around like 4 bags. So
Wait, you've only been traveling for 3 months. You left some stuff already? You have four
but you know what?
bags?
Clothing is my weakness. And I knew this, and I should have just left more of my clothes at home because I knew I was going to want to
Are
buy
you
clothes when
buying
I
clothes?
travel. Because they're cute.
All right. You don't have to look, you don't have to explain nothing to me. Explain it to your bank account. Have that conversation.
And they're cheap. They're cute and they're
And your
cheap.
back. Because I'm sure carrying around all that stuff is going to hurt your back at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh. I had a great massage the other day. I didn't even realize how much my back hurt until they started. I was like, oh, yeah, I needed this today. Yeah.
That's hilarious. One of my questions was, how do you practice self care while you're traveling? So you get massages. Have you found that
Mm-hmm.
have you found that like some of the beauty treatments or the spa treatments are cheaper abroad compared to home?
Oh, for sure, 100%. So, um, Thailand is notorious for it already, and sure enough, you get full body massages for less than $10. So most places you can get it for like 250 to 400 baht, which is about two times three. That's like it's like $7 to $12 US. Full body 1 hour massage. Um, yeah, and it's legit and it's everywhere. You can if and especially in Phuket, it's like one after another massage parlors, and there'll be like 5 or 10 ladies standing out of every massage parlor. And I'm like, how do y'all have all this? How do you even keep your business afloat? Like, how are 10 people here all sitting outside? Like, but hey, um, so yeah, Thailand very cheap. And where else did I get cheap massage? In Laos, got a cheap massage. Um, Vietnam is where I got the best massage so far, or like where I needed it the most. But it was the most expensive because it was during the Lunar New Year. And a fun fact: Lunar New Year, the prices of everything, there's a surcharge, and they make it clear. They actually put out special menus or a special sign that says during this week or this time frame, you're going to add 10%, 20% to your bill to help with, cover the costs of Lunar New Year, whatever, like labor costs and stuff like that, because people, a lot of businesses close down because people go home to their hometowns and spend time with families. So it's harder to, I guess, for them to get the resources to, uh, massage or feed us or whatever. So that was the most expensive massage. It was about maybe like $20
That's
US.
still very
But
good. Okay, I'll
yeah,
take it.
yeah, that was good.
I'll take it. So Divya, she's in Vietnam, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
She's in Vietnam. So we are winding down. What?
Wow, time flying.
Time flies when you're having fun. I have
It
to figure out how to give
is.
myself like sound effects because there's like some corny stuff out. Like I want to give myself the but bump, like when
The
there's a
bump.
joke, right? Um. So what advice would you give another woman who is hesitant to travel solo, hesitant to travel alone? Maybe she wants to quit her job and bop around the world. What would you say to her?
I would say start your planning now, right? Because it's gonna take a while. Like, I mean, depending on your income and your bills and things you have, you need to just formulate that plan. Um, but yeah, if you think about it now, start today, right? There are many ways to like cut costs. Just look at how you're spending your money. If you're maybe eating out a lot, or if you can maybe walk to work 20 minutes instead of taking a cab, or that kind of stuff. I mean, this stuff was all kind of second nature to me, just because I just always sort of been a little penny pitcher. So like, living in New York, I'm like, all right, I don't want to own a car because it's you don't there's insurance, gas, parking. A lot of places you have to pay for parking, or you have to there's alternate side parking rules, so you have to worry about moving your car on certain days at certain times. It wasn't worth it to me. So like, much cheaper to just take the public transportation. If I can take public transportation, um, I will do that over Uber or owning a car. Um, Not living in the most expensive areas, right? I worked in Manhattan, but I lived out in New Jersey, which a lot of people would clown me for. They're like, I'm not visiting you in Jersey. You just come move to Brooklyn. I'm like, I'm not spending double what I'm paying now to live in a worse, not like the quality of the apartment itself. Generally, probably wouldn't even be as good. Like, they'll give you like a white refrigerator.
A white
Uh,
refrigerator. The
it's
ghetto.
like that.
I'm kidding, everyone.
Joke,
That was
joke.
we're
Okay.
joking.
I wish
That was a joke.
No, but seriously. So it's just looking at where you can, if you're really serious about it, just looking at where you can cut expenses, um, and then learning to prioritize. the fact that you want to travel. So if you have to cut back on eating out, you have to live in a less ideal location or in a smaller apartment or whatever, or move out your apartment. If you have people who will, keep you for 6 months or a year or something, and you only pay them like a quarter of what you were paying in rent, right? Just contribute to the household, do something like, um, maybe you get a second job. That's probably even better. It's good to, if you can increase your income, that's always great too. So a lot of things aligned for me, right? Like I said, and when I was supposed to leave in August, instead of going to travel, I was recruited for another job where I was making almost double, and like everything just sort of lined up. That was good. So if you look for opportunities to make more money, maybe you take up a second job. There's just it's possible. You just need to prioritize it. And some people, if you're not interested in travel, that's fine too. I'm not telling everybody that they need to come, live that way. If you enjoy, you know, more luxurious life, or you enjoy your material things and stuff, then that's good. That's what makes you happy. So you spend money on that. But if not, figure out ways to
Travel.
prioritize your
Yeah.
travel fund. Yeah.
Yeah. The way you figured out how to spend money on your Louis Vuitton purse, you could also, if you want to travel more, you could figure out where the money gonna come from
Yes.
for a trip.
And think about
Okay.
that, right? Like think, okay, $2,000 for a purse, or that can be a round trip flight, and 5 or 10 days in Japan or something. If you think of it that way,
Yeah.
that also helps. Every time you're spending money,
Repurposing
like,
the money.
yes, you go out for food, it's $40, $50 for a meal. That is 10. That's like 8 Thai massages. So that's a flight from Phuket to um to Bangkok. You know, it,
Yeah, it's mindset. It's really mindset.
mm,
Um, so what's next for you?
just after the travel, or just from today?
Listen, that's how you live your life? Like,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know, you know.
so
No,
you're going to, well,
I
you're going to Australia next, right? After you leave
yes,
Vietnam.
yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll go to Philippines, and then from there Australia.
Okay.
So I have a rough plan to Australia. Then I'll go back to India to see my friend again, and then hopefully we'll travel around India a bit, because the first time I just stayed in her city. So we can go around India. I would really love to explore more of India. Um, and then I'm hopeful to make it to Korea and Japan for spring, because cherry blossom. Woo.
Yeah.
So
How
so
did you
that's
find
so far.
India? Well, I guess, well, obviously you had your friend with you, but I've heard that India is kind of like an interesting destination that if you're like only recommended for experienced travelers because you may
Hmm.
have to make a lot of adjustments. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you would go there for. That's not somewhere you go for like a luxury. I mean, there are luxury palaces and stuff like that, but I don't think that's somewhere you would go where you would be comfortable right away. It's definitely take adjusting. Um, I mean, I stayed only in Kolkata. That's where my friend lives and where she's from. Um, and I was actually surprised, pleasantly surprised, because I only had like small images of what India looks like from media. But Kolkata is like this really like bustling city, very loud, a lot of horn honking. It's like horn honking nonstop all day and night. Um, there are pockets of like really like expensive neighborhoods, really nice, architecture, and then you have obviously like more of the, you know, where more normal local people live. And you might actually, one thing that surprised me is like you might see like a really expensive place like in the middle of you know more
The hood.
and not so expensive looking neighborhood. Yeah, yeah, you know. So it was just interesting to see like the disparity just like right there in front of your face.
Mm.
Like I saw there was like a lime green BMW just like parked outside of like this really nice expensive house, and then like on the next block is like just people begging, you know, outside, sleeping on the floor and on the dirt. So it's very interesting in that way. Um, and yeah, I mean, I was just happy to have my friend there, obviously, because it just made it a lot easier with translating and stuff like that as well. There was a lot of English, like a lot of English signs and stuff you can get around. But for example, you might book a taxi ride, like the Grab app is what they use. It's like their Uber. It's called Grab. You book a taxi for the price, and then as you're driving, they're like, "Oh, my friend, this is not enough. Can you give me this much more?" And I'm like, and you're like halfway through the ride. So like, what do? Maybe you agree, or if you don't agree, they might what they kick you out the car. Like, what's gonna happen? You know?
Right.
So stuff like that um, tend to happen. Tends to happen. Um, so yeah, having my friend with me, and that did happen when she came to pick me up from the airport, and they were just going back and forth because she's not scared. Like she's coming, she's like
She'll
no, da, da,
fight.
da, 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 da. And they're just going back and forth, and I'm just here filming a video of the lights, the pretty lights. They'll figure this out.
Right. You get to, that's nice though, 'cause you get to be the tourist while your friend is like, let me handle this. Yeah. So definitely if you're gonna go to India, it sounds like you shouldn't go alone or you should have a
Book a tour
guide.
company, a guide,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, a driver and stuff. So I would probably do that even in the future after being in Kolkata. Probably still wouldn't go around alone because even my friend told me like, you know, you should be careful in these other cities. I felt fine in Kolkata. Like after 2 weeks of being there, I was able to walk the streets by myself. But yeah, in a new city, like I want to visit like Delhi and Jaipur and stuff. But I hear things, you know, go down in those cities too. So you just gotta be
Yeah.
careful, not go out at nights. People can be pushy, that kind of stuff.
Okay. One last question from Khadijah. Do you rack up and use miles and points?
So I did rack up points like while I was, well, yeah, through travel, and then also at home. I would just use that card for everything. And now I have, you know, a couple $1,000 in points, which have actually saved me a couple of times, especially here in Vietnam during the New Year. The flights for like 3, 4 times the amount than they should be. So that was not part of my budget. Okay, like Vietnam, I'm like, I'm going to Vietnam. It's gonna be super cheap. I'm gonna get a flight here for $50, and it's like $150, $200 now because I booked last minute and because I didn't do my visa in time. It's all because I came smack dab in the middle of like the travel rush for the New Year. It's like traveling right before Christmas or right before the New Year. Everything's very expensive. So I did end up using my points to book one of those flights. And then also I'm thinking because I'm just really tired of staying in hostels and I haven't really been able to focus on like the vlogging and the video content creation like I wanted to. Um, I want to get a private space, so I probably will use points for that as well. Maybe in the Philippines. So they've been they're a good cushion for me.
Do you want to drop the credit card name? You wanna tell the people?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I use the Chase Sapphire Preferred. That one is like has a $95 annual fee. You get 1.25 times the points, dollars per point. Sorry, $1.25 per point, which is pretty generous because a lot of other credit card companies you might get less. Like maybe it's like point 0.8, like 80 cents per point or something like that. So it's pretty generous with Chase, and yeah, and I used to work for them, so I have maybe a little bias, but I think they have the best customer service from all the banks that I've had to deal with. Um, so yeah, I recommend them. You could also get the Sapphire Reserve if you want, but it's like $500 a year. Um, I wanted to open that card, but you can't have the preferred and reserve at the same time. So if you are interested in one or the other, you know, pick one because you cannot open the other one if you have the first card. You can upgrade, but then you won't get the points bonus, like the opening bonus. Like, oh, spend $4,000, you get like 6,000 points or something like that. 6,000. So
I love
that's
that
why I haven't
you
upgraded.
I love that you know so much about this. Um, because it's like a nice surprise. Like like
Oh,
here we are.
really?
No, because it's like here we are sitting talking about travel and it's like you actually know all of this finance stuff because that's your background. I love
Oh,
it.
oh, yeah. I guess,
I love
yeah.
it. You're like sitting
It
on my
helps.
channel
It helps.
talking about being a blogger and you're like, actually, I'm gonna tell you which credit
Uh,
cards to get because I know all the benefits. I love it.
Chase is the way to go. Yeah, there's also this thing called Chase Trifecta. So if you get the Sapphire, um, the Freedom, and Freedom Unlimited. So the Freedom card, it gives you 5% cash back on certain categories every quarter. So it's like, all right, so if it's gas stations this month, you might want to use that card to get 5% back instead of the Sapphire. You only get 2%. You'll get like 2% back. And then the unlimited is just like 1.5% back on every purchase. So all the reason they work well together is because you can transfer your points from the other two cards to the Sapphire so that you can still get that 1.25 bonus,
Oh.
redemption. So I'm not sure why they do that. I should probably transfer my points before they change their mind, like they did with the with the Sapphire cards, because you used to be able to open up both cards before the pandemic, and then people were taking advantage, whatever that means. If I'm paying for both the cards, I don't see how I'm taking advantage. But
Exactly.
anyway, so
Okay,
yeah,
nice. That's a
um,
nice hack. That's a nice hack.
yeah,
Tell the people. Okay, so
yeah.
Brittany, do you want to leave us with anything, any parting words, any advice,
Hmm.
any
Let me check my
gems?
notes. I try to be a little
Did you
prepared
keep notes?
because
You made
just a
notes?
little, just a little bit. I wanted to make sure I touched on things that were important to me
I feel
or
honored.
important to
No, no,
share.
no. Listen,
Oh,
listen. None of my guests, if y'all are watching, if any of my previous guests are watching, none of y'all prepared notes. Okay?
what?
Right?
It's also
Brittany,
my
she's
anxiety,
setting a
so I have to.
standard. She's setting a standard, you guys.
All right, the notes, the notes. All right, let's see.
Drop the gems. Daphne
All right,
Landry.
so
You
it's
got your whole name out here for the people to see.
Daphne.
Oh, we know her. Hi, Daphne.
Yes, that's my bestie. All right, I won't share too much because we now have her whole name, so I'm not gonna say where she lives and all that. But thank you, thank you everybody who joined. I see you. Let me make sure I see all my people. I see you, Daph. I see you, Gil. I see you, Marisa. I see you, Chris. I see you. I'll say hi to Angela. Should be via. I don't know you, but maybe I will get to know you after this. Hopefully. Angela, Chris. Hey, Pavi. Hey, Marisa. Let's keep going. Let's go. Eileen is still here. All right, I saw my cousins already. And Mumi, if you hadn't heard me say hi to you before, hey, Mumi. Okay. Bianca. Hey, Bianca. If that's the
Hey,
Bianca, I think it
Bianca.
is. The
The
one
one
that's
that you.
traveling around South America with her dog. She just
Yeah,
completed that journey, by the way.
she's phenomenal.
Crazy stuff. So that's one of the inspirations. Black woman from Brooklyn, just traveled around South America solo in a car with her dog.
Hmm. With her dog, yeah.
Okay,
She was on my channel.
she can. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
All right, I'm gonna go check that interview out. They're all here, right? They're all this. They're all.
They may not be. They might have
Oh
popped out. I
no.
don't know. But wait, so let's go back. Did you have any gems to drop?
Oh,
Any last
sorry. See,
words? Did you find anything?
last words. Last words. Okay. For full time traveling, it's okay to take it slow. So learning that it's okay not to rush through, not to. You don't need to hit all these main points. The point of traveling or vacation, I've learned, or that I'm that's growing on me, is that I'm here to recharge and reset. And at first, there was all this enormous pressure to like, create content, right? I need to do this for the people. I gotta make sure they see this and see that and see this, and that takes away from the whole experience. The whole reason I wanted to do this, because I felt overwhelmed, and because I want to really immerse and enjoy myself and my experience. I want to sit by the beach for 2 hours and not think about doing anything else.
Yeah.
So you know, I think in the past I would judge people internally like, oh, how could you just go? Like, why would you pay money to just go lay on a beach 5 days? You could just lay in your house for 5 days for free. And, uh,
That's
but
me. What are you saying? Are you speaking to me?
no, wait, are you laying on the beach for 5 days?
No, but I mean,
Or are you really the other?
I traveled and I don't have any, like, there's no proof that I've actually been to any of the places that I've been to because
Wow,
I don't take pictures. I don't film things. But
that's
I was
good.
there and
You know,
I was in the moment. But
no,
you're
that's
right.
wonderful, and I want to get there. But then I'm always for the people. I gotta do this for the people. But you know what? Maybe some. But I have so much content. I haven't even gotten. I'm just now posting about India. That was 3 months ago, and I have Malaysia and Laos and Thailand and Vietnam now. I'm gonna have content for probably a year or so. So I don't need to capture every single thing anymore. Now I'm feeling okay, like, you know. And the point is that it happened, right? I was there, and I can still give advice. I've been there. I might have just a few photos or whatever, but I had this experience, and if you need advice, I can share it with you. So,
Yeah, definitely.
uh, there's that. Pack light.
Pack light, but she has 4 bags. That's hilarious.
Oh, as soon as you said 4 bags, I read 4 bags on the screen because there was one instance where I was changing hotels, but the hotel was like in some alleyway, and I didn't know how to get there, so the guy just drops me in the alley. The woman drops me in the alley. And I'm like, I don't know where it is, and I have my 4 bags. I'm like, I don't see the hostel. Where am I walking to? And she's like, ah, no, 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 no. Don't know. She's speaking Thai. I don't know what she's saying. So she leads me there, and then some guy comes by, and I'm like, pointing like, oh, do you know where this hostel is? And then he looks at my bag, he looks at me, he just starts laughing, snickering. This Thai guy, and I'm like, haha, yeah, okay, funny. And he's like, come on, come on. So I pick up my bags. He don't help me with the bags. He just watches me with all my bags, and he's snickering the whole time while he's leading me there. And I'm like, I want to punch this dude in the face. I've never felt so like I just felt
He's just like,
just enraged.
this
It
is
was
how you
weird.
Americans show up here with your 4 bags and
Okay, here's another big point. So that was just two experiences. This is what I want to say. So I think that as important as it is for us to experience these cultures, I think part of me traveling or like what I'm looking forward to most is also, oh no, the mic, is
oh, I hear you.
exposing other people to black people, more black people, because they don't see us represented enough, right? They only see us in the media, and they have these ideas about us. And I think it's important for us to travel and to, expose them to us as well.
100%. I say that all the time. Like, they don't know
Okay.
black I feel like black Americans, we just started traveling. Like in the last 5 years, we just started
Mm.
traveling. I've met so
Mm-hmm.
many people that are like, I've met Americans, but I've never met an African American. I've never met a black American. And
Really?
we bring so much nuance to the messaging that's out there about the US.
Mm.
Um, and I think also like it's it's kind of nice because our reputation in a way precedes us. So you have some people who really think like Black American culture is so cool and they love our music, they like the
Mm.
movies that we produce, but they don't know anything about who we are as people. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, 100%. We need to show the world who we are, and at the same time, we're all having more amazing experiences abroad. And we're coming back and we're telling other people who look like you and me, and we're like, look, y'all gotta get up out the US. Like, just go somewhere. I don't care where you go.
Yes,
Like, just go somewhere. You have to see the world. There's
absolutely.
more. There's more than you ever could have imagined. That was it. I took your last words, child.
No, that's
I
great. That's perfect.
Well, Brittany, I know you are well overdue for a mid morning nap. Um,
Whew.
You gonna go to sleep or you gonna go out in the world?
I'm gonna go out because I want to be able to sleep tonight. If I sleep now, then I'll probably be up all night. So I'm just gonna get a coffee, get a egg coffee or a salted coffee. Those are two Vietnamese coffees that are really really good. If you come to Vietnam, you gotta try those out. Um, yeah, I'll get a coffee. I'm just gonna power through.
Daphne says we're either Beyonce, Oprah, Michael Jackson, or Obama. Exactly.
Facts, facts.
Exactly. Um,
Oh,
but what-
oh no, I was just thinking about like in Thailand, there's a lot of hair braiding shops, but like you'll just see like people of all races with like box braids. So they'll do the braids. It's very interesting.
it's alarming. It's very alarming to see that.
Alarming. Okay, yeah, yeah,
It
maybe
looks
that.
a
It's
mess.
very
It looks a mess. I don't care what nobody says. It was shocking. Angela says it's a
mm,
cultural exchange. We learn from and teach one another. 100%.
exactly.
Um, well, I appreciate you guys joining us. Brittany, I appreciate you coming down to the channel. You have to come back again.
Yes, I love
Yes.
to. I'm so happy talking to you. I love
Yes.
this energy,
We
and
can talk
yeah,
about
you're great.
Australia. Thank
Yeah.
you. Um, so you guys like the video. If you guys are catching the replay, if you're in the room right now and you haven't liked the video, girl, what we doing? Like the video, right? Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this chat with me and Brittany. Let me know what you want to talk to her about if she comes back on the channel. Um, like the video, share it with a girl who you think could benefit from it. What else? If you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification button because ain't gonna be too many more of me going live in the middle of the night. I am exhausted. I have oh my goodness.
Apologies, apologies. I know
It's
I
okay,
like I'm
but
like a very worst.
no, I've had no. I've had two other middle of the night lives in the last 2 weeks. Listen, I'm an
Wow.
elder these days. I am in bed by 10. I couldn't possibly stay up later but I love that you came to my channel. I think you are amazing. Thank you so much for coming. I wish you well on your journey. Keep in touch. Not in like the
Mm.
fake way, but in the real way. Like you got my
Oh
Instagram,
yeah.
girl. You want my number? I'll send my number along, my WhatsApp. Um, but yeah, that's all I got, y'all. Peace out. Stay black.
Yes, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a true honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.